Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. So tonight is night one of our meal prep for our budgeting meals. This is gonna come together really quickly. So we're gonna get started. I've got our oven preheating to 400 degrees and we have all of our ingredients out. So we have our mashed potatoes, our fried bacon, our green onions, which have seen better days, but we're gonna utilize them. We should have done this on prep day and I completely forgot. And then we have our cheese. All right, so it calls for an 8-inch round. I don't have a round baking dish, so we're just gonna do my 8-inch square. I'm gonna spray this with some oil. All right, so first things first, we're gonna put our potatoes in the bottom of our pan. These are going to be tough to spread out. And I'll tell you guys, so last night was Monday. I was not feeling well, so I didn't go to work yesterday. So my family ate sandwiches for dinner as part of the weekly meal prep. So we're cooking this for Tuesday. We'll have another of the recipes on Wednesday and then Thursday. And then Friday night will be our leftover night. And it's only Tuesday and I feel like I have worked a week in one day. All right, so there's our potatoes. And then it is 1.5 cups of cheese that you chop your potatoes with. And this may be just a hair more than a cup. I'm going to double check and make sure we don't need any cheese for any of the other recipes. I don't think we do. Let's see though. It doesn't call for extra cheese, but I think I'm going to save the other half of this for our buffalo chicken potatoes, so that we'll have some cheese on those as well. So we're actually stretching the cheese a little farther than the recipe's called for. Okay. So now on top of the cheese, we're going to top it with our chicken and our bacon. All right, now with our chicken, this is all the meat off of both chickens except the wings and the legs and the thighs, because those are for another recipe. So this is all for this recipe and the buffalo chicken. So I'm pretty much just going to take, I think this is going to be too much for my pan. I'm just going to start with about 1/3 of my chicken and see how much that covers on my pan, and then we'll kind of go from there. But I think this is going to be way too much chicken, so I think we're going to end up having extra chicken left over, which is okay because we'll add it to the sheet pan meal that we do with the legs and the wings. I may be wrong, I may end up needing more chicken, but we'll see. Now I'm just doing a rough chop on the chicken. Our oven is preheated. And this chicken is so good, and we just seasoned it with just that Kinder's, oh, what's the name of the Kinder seasoning? It's just salt, pepper, and garlic. I'm gonna get just a little bit more. just really cover it well. We have the chicken. We want it to get eaten. There we go. We're going to top the chicken with our bacon, which I feel like is a lot of bacon. But we're gonna go with it. And then we're going to bake it for 20 minutes. And I did wash my onions before we got started. I'm going to chop these up and just leave them on my cutting board until the casserole comes out of the oven. And then we're going to be ready to eat. This looks so good. Now guys, it did say to cook it, bake it for 20 minutes. I had to cook it for 30. But it looks so good. And then we're going to take our green onions and sprinkle on top. That was so pretty and so simple. All right. Now to go with it, I do have a tomato. So I'm going to slice up a tomato just to have on the side. You know how I like to do my tomatoes. I'm going to put a little salt and pepper and some balsamic glaze on them. Just have a little something fresh. And if you have a green stalk, you can grow your own tomatoes. All right, so dinner is ready. Let's get some of this scooped out. I'm going to make a mess. It's so pretty. I'm so excited to try it. I know this is just going to taste like a kind of like a twice baked potato. Get a little bit of everything. And it is on fire. Oh, that's really good. Definitely a must try. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous, but this is such a really good system. And that took us what, just a few minutes to put together, and then there's the cooking time. Oh, this is a good idea. I like it. All right, guys. Thank y'all for hanging out with me in the kitchen tonight, and then I'll see you next time we're in the kitchen. Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. It's Wednesday after work, and I have a tea. So that should be a little bit of an indication of the kind of day that I've had, but we're going to get started on dinner. Tonight is the buffalo chicken stuffed recipe avocados, but we're going to do potatoes. So we're going to get it going. All right, first up we have our potatoes, and I'm going to put these in the microwave just like we did our baked potatoes a couple weeks back. We had some leftover cream cheese from the potatoes, so we're going to add that in just to make sure we get it used up. We have just a little bit of cheese left over. We're going to top them, and then we have our buffalo sauce and our chicken. Now tonight we'll probably also, once we get everything in the oven baking, we're going to do our fruit salad tonight as well. Though I think my children have almost ate every strawberry, but we'll just put what we have together, so we'll have a little bit of a fruit to go with the potatoes. All right, so for the potatoes, just going to stab them a little bit so they have room to vent the air. Then we're going to throw these into the microwave. Not my favorite way to make them, but it's the most convenient way. And then we have the oven preheating to 400 degrees. Now, the recipe doesn't call to put this on the stove and heat it up, but I'm kind of going to make this just like I would my buffalo chicken dip, because I need to melt the cream cheese. So we're just going to put everything in a pot, warm it through, and then we'll mix it with the chicken. And the recipe actually calls for mayonnaise, but I would much rather cream cheese than mayonnaise. Then it calls for 1/3 cup of hot sauce. But we have this whole bottle. I don't think that I will use this again. So I'm going to do about half of this bottle and see how much it is with the cream cheese. And then once we add it to the chicken, I might just end up using the whole bottle. Okay. And then while this heats up, we're going to get our chicken chopped up. And I think we're going to have extra chicken too, because I don't think I use as much for dinner last night. I feel like every day I come home from work and I'm talking about how exhausting it is and how just crazy it is. I hope one day I don't have to say that to you guys anymore. But anyone that works in any sort of corporate office or anything like that has to understand. Just right when you think the chaos is ending, it just continues. All right, so I'm going to start chopping up the chicken. Kind of, I don't know if it would be better like shredded. We'll just cut it up small. Because it just calls for 2 cups of chicken for this recipe, but I know I have more than that. So I say we'll just mix it all together. If there's any dark meat left in this container, I'm going to feed it to Rufus. And then we'll just have extra buffalo chicken for lunch. Rufus is patiently waiting by the counter to get a piece of chicken. Can you catch? I'll check these potatoes, see if I need to turn them on again. All right, we're going to clean up and then we'll get this mixed up. All right, so we're going to add in our cream cheese and part of our buffalo sauce. Guess it would help if you could see it. And we'll see how that mixes up. Yep, I think I'm going to add the rest of the sauce. All right, so that's all put together. Now, I think our potatoes are done. And then we're going to cut these in half. This dinner is probably the quickest one we've done so far. Hot, hot, hot. Hot, hot, hot. Potato. I think I'm going to keep that one for my son. I kind of cut it the wrong way. He doesn't want these. All right. Now I'm wondering, do I want to scoop out some of that potato? Because it needs more of a boat to sit in. Maybe just a touch. Just because I want to make a little divot. Oh, hot, hot, hot. For the mixture to sit in. And then if we want the rest of the potato, we'll just chop it up and eat it with. Okay. So now we're going to pile up our chicken. And we have plenty to have some on the side if we want extra buffalo chicken. So our buffalo chicken's in. We're going to top them each with a little bit of cheese. And let it all fall off the potato. All right. And then we're going to bake these for 15 to 20 minutes. I'm excited about these. These are cute. Cute little potato boats. All right. So in the oven we go. So our potatoes are in the oven. So now we're going to do our fruit salad. Now, out of the entire container of strawberries, that's all that I have left from my kids snacking, but that's going to be just fine. We'll add those in. And I am going to deter from the plan just a little bit because I got lemons to put on it and I was going to do sugar because everybody usually has sugar in their house, but I really like honey on my fruit. So I'm going to use this amazing honey that I got when we went to Executor, California, about a year ago. Matt's Bees set up locally there, and this is an orange blossom honey, the best honey I've ever had. So when we left and come home, I was like, I need more of that honey. And so I reached out to them on Instagram and they actually shipped me some. Super good price, but it's literally the best honey I've ever had. And I love local honey, don't get me wrong. But the orange blossom, it's one of the best honeys I've ever had. So it's going to just be a mixture of a few strawberries, 2 apples, and then we're going to do 2 bananas. And it's really important if you're doing apples or a banana in a fruit salad that you want to use lemon juice so it cuts back on how quickly they brown. I'll tell you this, honey, whenever we were out there, they were telling us like ways, like recipes to use it. And they also had fresh strawberries. If you take fresh strawberries, wash them the night before you want to eat them, put the honey on them, and let them sit in the fridge overnight. Oh, it's so delicious for breakfast. Now it's making me want to go back to California. In the little town that we stayed in, it was just like home. It was the Airbnb that we stayed in was right in the middle of the orange groves and the citrus groves. Just friendly and country as I'll get out. But it was awesome. All right. My bananas are a little riper than I'd like, but it's going to be fine. I'm just going to do them in a little bit bigger chunks. It's a very white fruit salad. I'm hoping this one has some bad spots, so we're going to cut that off. If my nephew was here right now, he would be fighting me for this banana. He loves bananas. And I'm sorry if you can hear me sniffing. The Kentucky allergies, don't matter what time of year. All right, so I'm just going to put my lemon juice straight over the fruit. And it's probably going to be more. Probably won't need the full 2, but I'm going to at least do 1 and then put some honey in and see. But you just use sugar if that's all you have. Sugar is just as good. And if you had fresh herbs and you wanted to add a little bit of mint, that's really good too. There's not much in the bottom, so I'm going to do another half of the lemon. There we go. And I'm going to get me a strawberry, an apple, and a banana. Maybe those bananas I kind of cut up big. Strawberry and banana. That's good. All right. So our fruit salad is ready. Our potatoes are in the oven. We're going to let them bake. When we come back, we'll plate everything up. Oh, our potatoes are done. Look really good. Now the recipe has you using the rest of your green onions to top them with, but as you all saw last night, my green onions weren't looking that good, so I used what I could last night, so we're not going to have green on them. But I think I'm going to drizzle them with just a little bit of ranch. And then I just plated up our fruit salad because Raylan already came down to get his dinner. And dinner is served. All right, let's see here. Oh, it's flaming hot. Before I put the chicken on the potato, I should have seasoned the potato with salt and pepper. It's still good, but the potato could definitely use a little bit more seasoning. So next time I make this, because I will, because it's really good, definitely season the potato before you add the chicken. All right, guys. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me tonight, and I'll see you next time we're in the kitchen. Hello, and welcome back to my kitchen. So tonight is the last night of our budget dinners using the cookbook. Cook once, eat all week. Now, I do want to say, since this is our last meal and it's pretty much just the chicken and potatoes, I know it's going to be delicious. This, if you can, you need to get it. This has made my week so convenient by doing that couple hours of prep and then using all the same ingredients throughout the week when I got home was such a time saver for me. We'll definitely have to try a couple more of these in the coming months, but they were all really good. And I did it, change a few things to accommodate my family's likings, but you can do that too. And the ingredients are basic and simple, healthy. So I think if anyone really wants to try, you should look into this cookbook. All right, so tonight we're doing the sheet pan meal, and I've already got the oven preheated to 400 degrees. And then we're just going to get started. I've got my carrots and my potatoes. I drained them, and I want them to get really, really dry so that we can season them up. Now, another change we're going to have to do to this recipe is that it called for cauliflower, and I'm using potatoes and carrots, and they're a much harder vegetable. So I'm not going to do everything together at first because the recipe says to do the cauliflower, then put your chicken on top of it, and then bake it. That's going to burn my chicken, I think, before or overcook it before my potatoes and carrots get done. So we're going to season up our potatoes and carrots, and then we're going to put them in the oven, cook them probably about 20 minutes, and then we'll season up the chicken the way we want to, top the chicken over the vegetables, and then cook that to get it warmed through. All right, so potatoes and carrots. I've used my cute little watermelon dish towel to dry off, fitting for summer. And then we're going to get started on our seasonings and seasoning these up. Pull you in a little closer. So as I'm seasoning my potatoes, I also have a small bowl, and I'm going to put the same seasonings that I put in the potatoes and carrots. I'm going to put it in the side in this little dish. Because what I'm going to do, since we're not doing the balsamic glaze, since the balsamic is kind of an expensive ingredient, I'm going to create an oil kind of rub, and then we'll top the chicken. We'll brush it after when we put it in the oven, so that the flavor profile is the same across all the vegetables and they're all seasoned really well. So first up, of course, is our salt and our pepper. And remember, with potatoes, you have to season them a lot more than you think they need because they need all the salt that you can give them. So I've done about a little over a teaspoon of salt. Then our black pepper, I'm going to do about a teaspoon. You all know I love the black pepper. And here I am. I'm not adding I am going to go a little bit lighter on the salt and pepper in the oil rub because when we cooked the whole chickens, it does have salt and pepper on it. So I'm going to probably do about half of a teaspoon of each. All right, so next up, we're going to do some smoked paprika. That's going to give a lot of good flavor. Same thing I'm probably going to do. I'm going to see what it looks like with a teaspoon. I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika in the potatoes. And I want more of the smoked paprika, so I'm going to do a teaspoon and a half in my oil rub. Then, of course, we're going to do onion and garlic powder. Same thing I'm probably going to do. I'll do a teaspoon of onion, half a teaspoon in there. But the garlic, we're going to do probably more than a teaspoon. Let's see. Oh, this is already smelling good. Yeah, I'm going to do a teaspoon and a half of garlic, full teaspoon in our oil rub. And then I'm going to do just a little bit of crushed red pepper. I'm going to do about half of a teaspoon. I'm not going to put any of the crushed red pepper in the chicken. And then I have some Italian herb seasoning that I thought would be really good. So same thing. I think I'm going to do 2 teaspoons. And a teaspoon and a half in our oil rub. And now I have the high heat grazia oil. Put quite a bit there, and then I'm going to also just top, and then we'll see if we need more in our oil rub later. And we're just going to make sure all of our vegetables get good and coated. And I know everyone just loves how much I love butter, so I'm probably going to put these on the pan, and I'm going to do a few little pats of butter on top as well. So I have my sheet pan with some parchment paper. And then we're just going to put our seasoned vegetables on the pan. Look at that. They look so good. And the more you season vegetables, the better they're going to taste. I know I always struggled in the beginning. I was just like, I don't like vegetables. But it's all about what you do to them. You can't, there's some vegetables, like a good potato, butter, salt, and pepper is delicious. But if you just take it the next step further and just add all of these different seasonings. They're really delicious. And of course, we're going to use our really good butter in this one because we're going to actually taste the butter. I'm just going to do a few. Little. All right. Our oven is preheated, so we're going to get this in. Like I said, we'll probably do it for about 20 minutes, and then I'll kind of see how tender they are, and then we'll decide if we need to give them a little more time before we put the chicken on. So our carrots and potatoes are in the oven, so I'm just going to get our rub together, and I think that I'm going to add just a little bit more oil, and then once our potatoes are ready to go, I'm just going to pull our chicken, and I'm just going to do everything on top. So if any of this runs down on the carrot or potatoes, it's not going to be a problem at all. And I'm also going to kind of clean up a little bit. Put everything back up. Clean up as you go. It'll be less stressful in the end. I need y'all to ignore all my dishes on my counter. I have stuff that's drying out. I'm a little OCD when it comes to dishes. I do not want any moisture on my lids or anything, so I always wash them in the dishwasher, but then I have to pull them out for like a day and let them sit out so they can air dry to make sure they're completely dry. All right, so our potatoes and carrots, the timer's about to go off. So I have just kind of mix up our rub for our chicken. So we'll be ready. I do think the 20 minutes in the oven is going to be just fine because I'll have a little bit. Oh, there's our timer. Let's check them out. They still have just a bit of a bite. So I think that by the time we get them out, top them with the chicken, and then warm the chicken through with the rub, we will have, they'll be the perfect texture. All right. So when it starts, I'm going to turn it down because I want to season the underside first. I really want to get the wet rub all over the chicken. I feel like I'm missing a wing, but this one's still attached. And all that gelatinous broth. Oh. Okay. And then we're just going to take our rub, do a little on this side, fling it all over the kitchen because, again, if you're not making a mess, you ain't doing it right. All right. Haven't said that in a while. It probably wouldn't have hurt to have just a little bit more of this, but I think we can make do with what we got. All right. Oh, that looks so good. And that perfect amount of rib. All right, back in the oven. This is going to go for about 20 more minutes. All right, guys, so I'm going to get this plated up for the family. Thank you all so much for watching. And again, go give this a try. And if you're still on the fence about it and you want me to try some more recipes, just let me know. We can do a couple more weeks throughout it just to kind of see if you want to get my opinion, if it's really worth the money or not. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time we're in the kitchen.